inside the White House, I know this has become sort of a moot question at this point, but is there anybody in there who's looking at the direction of his polls? Is there anybody in there who's saying, wait a minute, wear the mask, do the right thing, it gets our businesses open again? Our Republicans are abandoning us. Even Republicans, 19% of Republicans now like the direction the country is headed in. This clearly is not going well for us. If we want a shot at being reelected, we've got to change course. Is there any sense of crisis in the White House?
There is alarm inside of the White House about the president's poll numbers. You look at his numbers, not just among moderates or suburban women, but among seniors and white evangelicals. Those numbers have been softening in poll after poll in recent weeks. And there's another challenge for the White House as they try to fight this culture war, and the president defends the statues of Confederate generals and other figures that are part of our nation's racist past. You see the White House dealing with real concern about those evangelical voters because of what's happened at the Supreme Court in recent weeks, the rulings by Chief Justice John Roberts on gay rights and transgender rights, on abortion rights with the Louisiana decision on Monday. And there's concern that now these conservatives who counted on President Trump with the nominations of Justice Gorsuch and Justice Kavanaugh see Roberts, who is a George W. Bush nominee, but see Gorsuch's ruling on different issues and Roberts' rulings, and they see a court that's moving to the left on the issues that matter most to them. And so look in the coming weeks. I have a story out in the Post this morning about this. Look in the coming weeks for the president and particularly Vice President Pence to try to shore up that support with the base. This isn't an outreach White House at the moment. Just shoring up the base operation.
Yeah, but, which obviously you can understand why they're doing that when everything's falling apart. But again, it's hard to shore up the base. It's hard to talk about, Bob, a new list of Supreme Court justices that he's going to put out there when he did that last time. And what, as far as conservative evangelicals and Catholics see, when it comes to the culture wars, is he appointed, his first appointment was a guy that extended LGBTQ rights in a way that they've never been extended before. Activists in that movement say it was the greatest advance in history because of Neil Gorsuch, because of his first selection. And this is an issue that, of course, matters greatly to culture warriors in the evangelical movement and in the conservative Catholic movement. And the impact has to be devastating there. So, but the question is, Bob, with them this far behind in the numbers and with the Supreme Court actually going the opposite direction on guns, going the opposite direction on gay rights, going the opposite direction on abortion that Donald Trump promised they would go. First of all, how does he nail down that base and at the same time start expanding his electorate to the suburbs, start expanding his reach and pulling some people back that he won in 16 but who left him years ago?
Well, to that point about nailing down the base first, Joe, I have a little bit of new reporting. There are some people inside of the White House and around this president who are hoping at this point, knowing that it may not happen, but they are hoping that there might be a Supreme Court vacancy. Clarence Thomas, the justice since the early 90s, could decide to retire. And as this White House really looks to galvanize that base, they are quietly preparing for the possibility of a Supreme Court vacancy, looking like people like the Judge Amul Thapar, a favorite of Majority Leader McConnell, Amy Coney Barrett from Indiana, another federal judge. And they're looking at the possibility of an opening, and they think that kind of opportunity for them politically, that kind of news flash, would be a total culture war in the middle of a summer when they're trying to stoke that Republican base. But in terms of the suburbs, Joe, at this point, it's all a bet on reopening the economy and a lot of hope more than any kind of strategic outreach.